If you're using an application inside of Softr, then you already know how powerful this tool can be to help you share access to limited parts of your data with a variety of people. But many times, these users might need to change their email address, especially as your user list grows, and if it's external from your organization, you're going to often get a lot of requests to update email addresses. Is there an easy way to do it in Softr? Well, maybe not totally easy, but I'm going to show you in this video exactly how to get this done with a pretty slick automation. So if learning more about this is of interest to you, stick around and let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth, and this is Gap Consulting. It's our mission to help you unlock the full potential of your no-code tools, get you out of spreadsheets, and bring you into the future of software. As I said in this video, we're going to be taking a quick look at how to put together a process that allows us to update a user's email inside of Softr. But before we get into it, I first want to invite you to follow along with me. Softr has provided us with a coupon code for our audience that will allow you to get 1 month for free off of their Pro subscription tier. So in order to take advantage of that, go ahead and follow the video demo on your screen to enter that coupon code and claim your discount. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on into my screen. I welcome you to follow along with me if you are already a Softr user. Now, I am working from the Sales CRM template. If you want access to that template, I will share a link with this video, but the template that you're using is not the critical component of what we're going to do here. It doesn't really matter what your user base is. It doesn't matter what your app is. We are going to follow the same or similar steps. So first of all, here we are in our application. If we click on down to users, we're going to see the users here with their emails. Well, we cannot come in and edit these users. In fact, if we select a user inside of Softr, you can see that we can invite them, we can generate a magic link, or we can download this information, or we can get rid of them. We can get them out of our system. Now, the reason for this is the email address is a critical piece when Softr makes a new user and gives them access to the tool. So we cannot just come right in here and edit this information for the user. In fact, even if we have user blocks inside of our application that allow users to update information about their profile, the one thing they cannot edit is this right here. They can never change the email address because it is tied to that specific instance. So you might be asking yourself then, well, Gareth, what's the point of this video? You told me that I could update the user's email. Well, the reality is we are going to have to eliminate one user and update or recreate another user. So we're going to actually create a new user with the correct or the updated email address. Now, here's where things get a little bit tricky, is that all of the information that's tied to this user needs to also be tied to that new user. Because obviously this user is connected to different things. Let's look at Airtable on the back end to help this make a little more sense. So I'm looking at Zara Chang here. If I flip into the Airtable database, this is, again, from the template, but yours will be similar in some capacity. Zara exists here, and we can scroll over and see what they are linked to. In this case, deals and interactions are the two components where we are connecting pieces. We can see that I picked a bad example. Zara's not actually connected to any deals or any interactions, but the account executives here are. So we're going to pivot here and use a different user as our example. Let's say that Lori here wanted to update her email address. Instead of Lori with 2 E's, she wanted it to be Lori with 2 E's and then K, LoriK@example.com. Well, we can't just override the email here inside of this. Let's see what happens if we do that. LoriK@example.com. If we make that update and now we flip back into Softr, what we're going to see is that we now have created a new user inside of Softr. It's taken that record, but because the email address was updated in Airtable, it creates a new instance of a user inside of Softr. So now, of course, we can come in and manually delete this user here, the other Lori, and of course, then share information with the new Lori. Now, all of the other information information is going to be the same, right? This record back here in Airtable that is connected to deals, that's connected to the interactions, that has not changed. All we did was change the email address, which resulted in the creation of a new user inside of Softr, and we can therefore cleanly get rid of the old user and of course share access to the new user account. Now, if you're a fan of this channel, you know that we don't like to do things manually. So we are going to avoid that at all costs and build a process around actually updating this information. So let's think about what needs to happen. But before we do that, I like to go into my third-party automation tools to see what kind of access they have. So let's float into Zapier, one of my favorite automation tools. And you can see that it does have integration with Softr. So what can I do here? Well, inside of Softr, if I click in here and I look at the different action events, this is after I've already integrated my account, you'll see that I have two options. I can create a new user and I can delete a user. So there's a lot of potential here for what we can do. Now, Softr will automatically create that user as you already saw, but it could take a little bit of time. So what if instead we make this part of our process? We actually go about and build this process ourselves with an automation. Let's imagine how we can do that, but first we're going to go back into Airtable and create a new table. This will be called New Users Email. Now, what I care about here is what is the old email address and what is the new email address. Once I know those two components, then effectively I can run this automation that I am envisioning. So let's have email old, and it'll be an email field. And then I'll just copy this over and make this for the new email. So in our example, we might imagine that we had Lori here. It was L-O-R-E-E at example. And then we want to update it to LoriK@example.com. This is really the only information we need. So we can put together a quick and easy form to help us get this output. Then we can build an automation that when the form is received by Airtable, we will look for that user. We will update the user inside of Airtable. We will delete the old user in Softr and create the new user in Softr. Let's get to work. So first we're going to say form. Continue. And my form here, I don't care about the primary field here. I'm doing this quickly, so normally I would have a nice fancy primary field here. But all I care about is the two components that I worry about here. What's the old email? What's the new email? Let's publish this form. And I'm going to share this form and open it in a new window just so that I have it. I can allow any user on the web or just users with base access. Let's copy the link. I'll open this up, and this could be part of your SOPs. So anytime you had a user request an email update, whoever is going to make that update has access to this form, they pop it open. Now, next step, we need to build this automation that says when a new record comes into this new table that we just built. So let's float back into Airtable really quickly, and we just built our new table called New Users Email. Let's imagine then that a new record comes in here. And that's what's going to trigger the automation. We obviously know based on our form settings that we can make these things required fields. That way we can say, you have to have this information in order to submit the request for an update. So here in Zapier, I'm going to set that and say, look at the table. I'm going to refresh my results because this is a new table that we just added. New users email, there it is. I don't care to limit it to a view. I'm just saying when a new record comes in there, we know a new form was submitted. Let's get to work. Let's run our automation. So let's test the trigger really quickly. And we should find the sole record that is now in there, which is the old Lori, and updating to the new Lori K. Perfect. Now, what's the event that we want to have occur? Well, number one, we want to update that record in Airtable. Number two, we want to delete the old user in Softr. And number three, we want to create a new user in Softr. Now, I'll let you experiment with what order makes the most sense for you here. For me, I'm going to start by updating that record in Airtable. But before I update it, I have to find it. So let's first find the record in Airtable, and I will look for Airtable here. And we will simply say, hey, look, we know what the old email address is. Let us find the record in Airtable that has that old email address. So I will continue here. and I'm looking at my sales CRM base, and I'm looking in my employees table. The table you want to look in right here is whatever table you use in Airtable to store your user information. I'm going to search for the email field here, and the value that I'm going to be using is the value I received in the form. So in this case, my old email was Lori with 2 E's, no K. Let's actually flip back into Airtable really quickly to make sure that we have a Lori without the K to look for here. Let's find her, get rid of her. There she is. Also at this point, I'm going to pop back into Softr while we're testing our email automations. I'm going to delete that new user that we created. I don't want the new user yet. I need to say delete forever in employees. Yes, that's what I want. Goodbye, my friend. Okay, so now we should be good to go. Back inside of Airtable, we have the Lori, the old email address. We're going to look for that record now. So we're going to look for that record using the old email address. That's what we've put here. We are looking for an exact match. Now, one thing you might want to include here is a little bit of formatting on the email. You can do a lowercase, meaning that you're going to convert all the letters to lowercase, and also trim. So if there's any white space, an extra space here and there, you get rid of it. This is valuable for you to make sure that people are putting in their email address appropriately. I'm going to skip that for now, but just know that that's something you might want to do here for a little bit of extra validity for your data. Now, I don't want to continue. If we don't match here, I don't want this to continue. I don't want to create a new record. Absolutely not. We are just looking for an old record. If it doesn't exist, this automation should not move forward. Let's go ahead and continue from here and test this step. And we have found the old Lori. So this is right. This is the record we want to update. So now that we found the record, let's update the record. Let's go to Airtable. This is my third step. So I've got my trigger, new form, find the record, now update it. Let's go update right here. And this is perfect. What base? I only have one. What table? It's the employees table. How do I know what record I want to update? It's the one we just found in the past step. So I click on the 3 dots here. I go to find record and I add the record ID. Always use the record ID. This way you know it's always unique. You know you're not making a mistake. Now all I want to do is update the email address, and I want to use the new email that I got from my form submission. So here's the new email. Let's grab it. Let's continue. So all I'm doing now is updating the email address in my employees table, my users table, updating it to whatever the new request is. Now, before Softr can resync and do all the thinking on the back end, I am going to automatically do those steps for it. So what am I going to do? Well, number one, I'm going to delete that old user. Let's move forward. Now, the two pieces we need to configure this particular step is the domain of our application and the email that we want to delete. So we go into our application here. If you haven't already, do publish your application. But this right here, when we click on the publish button, shows us the domain for our app. So let's copy this and we'll flip into Zapier and drop it here. Now, we don't need what comes before. We don't need the HTTPS or the colon or the slashes, so get rid of them. Just use the domain for the app. And then let's bring in the email address. In this case, our email address was for old Lori right here, Lori with 2 E's, no K. Now we can continue and we will test this step. Simply click on test or retest. Let's see what happens here. And we have a successful deletion. We got rid of that user. Now we need to make sure to add the other user. So let's go ahead and create that new user in Softr using the new email address. Again, we will look for Softr as our action tool. We will go with creating a user, continue. And here we will simply, again, paste in that domain. Should still have it saved in our clipboard. The email address, of course, is going to be the new email address. But here's where we can get a little more creative. The full name is going to be the same name as the other user. So when we found the record, we knew the name, so we can just use it right here. So make sure you're taking from the appropriate step. In step 1, we got the email that we want to change it to. In step 2, we looked up the record for that user and we have their name. Now, we don't have a password for them. We'll let them create their own password. And let's allow them to also generate a magic link. This way, they can quickly and easily log back in. So let's go ahead and test this step. And we have successfully created a user. Now we have successfully put together an automation to do everything we needed. Let's go ahead and publish these changes, publish the automation. Be sure to rename it. I'm always bad at this. If we don't name our automations, then we will get very lost in the future. But let's walk through these steps and see how the automation works and if we're able to get the successful outcome. So of course, I'm going to start the process here from my form, but first I need to know what is the email I'm updating. Let's go with Billy E at example here. So I'm going to go in here, drop it in. Let's say that is a typo there, and I just need Billy. Okay, let's submit. The new record is received inside of Airtable. Let's go ahead and flip into Zapier now to watch the automation do its magic. I flip into Zapier here, and we see inside of our Zap history that we have a successful execution. So here we get that green checkbox all the way down. If we flip into Airtable, we're going to see the same thing. We see that Billy is updated here. There is no disruption with what's connected here. And if we flip into Softr and refresh our users page, we should see that we have the proper Billy now. Same information is still tied here. It's just an updated email address. How cool is this? The fact that we can do all of this with just saying, here's the old email, here's the new email, let's update it. Pretty cool automation to help you update email addresses in your Softr users. I know we went quickly in this video, but I hope you got a ton of value from it. If you want to learn more automation tricks like this, grab my free training. I've got an automation training at gapconsulting.io/webinar-registration. Sign up for free, have that sent right to you. Of course, if you got value from this video, we would appreciate a thumbs up, a subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. But the most important thing, keep on building.